blood has been drawn. Challengers have risen.
Quadra kill! To get the beautiful shockwave. Flash Wolves on the Nexus. Fnatic take the first seed! There is no base left. There is only victory.
Not all have survived. But a few have proven their resolve. The battle marches on.
抽到 SKT 1也是，如果你要打冠军，总会要遇到的，所以是啊，我们准备好了。
두 번 우승한 사람은 없으니까 그거를 한번 노려보고 있습니다.
First, we need to get Ku Tigers. I'm not thinking too far ahead. Ku is a hard team.
긴장도 되는데 또 기대도 되거든요. 열심히 해서 올라갈 수 있도록 하려고.
在小组赛里面嘛，就是我觉得我自己的表现很一般。8强的时候，我会表现出来一个不一样的我。
Me on one side and Deft on the other. I cannot possibly see it becoming anything less than a great game.
Soaz, he's one of my oldest idol. I loved his play. But this world, I don't think he's really that good.
He don't play the same style as me at all. He tend to play a lot passive. I think we can beat them.
Our strength is that we normally don't tilt in best of fives. But Origen, they have like ancient players. I'm sure they won't tilt too.
Well, not gonna underestimate them at all. It's gonna be interesting.
And now, pentakill! Origen takes the fight. Double kill for Neos. Flash Wolves on the Nexus are going to take down the Ku Tigers.
Hello, my lords and ladies, and welcome to Week 3 of the 2015 League of Legends World Championship. We've picked up stakes and moved the action to London, where the competition shifts into the knockout stage. As you can tell, there's plenty of excitement in the arena, and just moments ago, Stake looking cool and collected, flanked by the rest of the Flash Wolves. They'll be facing off against Origen, who are heading inside just a short time ago. It's a big day for both of these teams. As all 8 teams left standing will do battle this week in the historic SSE Arena at Wembley to continue their quest for the Summoners Cup. Hello, everyone. I'm James Dash Patterson, and I've brought along a few friends to help break down the action. They are Rockats head coach Jacob Yamato-Ken Mebdi, English language LPL commentator Jake Spontebiri, and Renegades jungler Alberto Crumbs Rengifo. Gentlemen, Week 3, we've made it to the knockout stages. How's everyone doing?
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. I cannot wait to get into the games.
Well, then let's work our way towards that. As the excitement around Worlds continues to build, we want to see how you and your friends are celebrating League's biggest event. So today, we want you to head over to Twitter and share with us your viewing parties, your sweet setups, and how you're cheering on your favorite teams. Here's how we, on the desk, are keeping it real. Just send your pictures to @LolEsports and use the hashtag Worlds so we can share our favorites a little later in the show. Budget cuts here in LA. As things get underway, we want to quickly introduce our team, though, who will be bringing you all the action as it happens. Heading up the interview lounge is Efia Sharks Deportia and a couple of hoodlums. They'll be breaking down the games in the venue and getting the inside story from the pros. And let's take a look inside the caster booth where Freak, Crepo, and Jat are preparing to make the big calls with today's series. And we'll be hearing from them in just a little bit. In addition to our crew, we're joined by teams from China, Brazil, Korea's OGN, as well as the BBC are all on site to bring the competition to the far corners of the globe. Of course, Now it's time to send inside to the historic Wembley Arena to meet the contenders battling in our first quarterfinal showdown.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen around the world, and hello, London! We're here at the SSE Arena for the very first quarterfinal of the League of Legends World Championship. I think it's about time we met our combatants. To welcome the team representing the LMS. And on the blue side for game number 1, put your hands together for the Flash Wolves! Starting in the top lane, it's Stake. In the jungle, Karsa. Maple mans the mid lane. The starting AD carry of NL. And their support, Sword Art. Kramer's the substitute AD carry. And Fluid Wind is their coach. This is the Flash Wolves. Their opponents today, representing the European LCS, it's Origen! In the top lane. Amazing in the jungle. Expeke in the mid lane. Niels, the AD carry. Mithy, their support. And Hermit, the coach. For the first quarterfinal of 2015, it's the Flash Wolves taking on Origen. Put your hands together as they let it all out on the Rift.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our quarter finalists here fighting it out today. I mean, you heard it from the crowd. There's plenty of energy in the building, but I think it's safe to say there is a hometown favorite in Origen.
Yeah, it cannot feel good being on that stage as a Flash Wolves. You get like a low murmuring and then you get an explosion, especially with Peke.
I think it depends on the people. Like, if I was there and the crowd would cheer for the other team, I would get fueled by it.
Well, that's the thing. The question is, you know, how does this energy affect you as a player? Does it bring up the nerves? Does it give you adrenaline and energy to, you know, push through? What does it do?
At least for myself, when you get into a situation where the crowd is really overwhelmingly in the opponent's favor, when you get on the stage, all that disappears. That you don't even get the chance to look at the crowd. You're just staring at your screen and immersed in that little world, and it's only in the in-between that you're thinking to yourself, oh, wow, you know what? They're really not wanting me to win.
Well, that's our first set of teams that we'll be taking to the Rift today. As we look towards our 4 games here in London, let's see how our competitors got here. Starting off in Group A, the LMS's Flash Wolves and LCK's Coup Tigers emerged, knocking out the #1 North American seed CLG and international wildcard Pain Gaming. Now, the European LCS's Fnatic and the LMS's AHQ Esports Club rose to the top of Group B over NA's Cloud9 and the LPL's Invictus Gaming. In Group C, the powerhouses SK Telecom and Edward Gaming advanced over Europe's H2K and wildcard from the GPL Bangkok Titans. And in Group D, Korea's KT Rolster and Europe's 3rd seed Origen bested China's #1 LGD and North America's TSM to fill out the quarterfinals. Now, we're only 2 weeks into Worlds, and we have seen a record number of champions making an appearance this year, already more than last year. 69 unique champions in 49 games, gentlemen.
We're bound to see a couple more as well. There's a lot of roles and champions that we thought would be very powerful coming into the tournament that we haven't seen yet. And if any team is going to show it, it's going to be all the ones playing in this knockout stage. particularly the red side team.
All right, put your money where your mouth is. Which champions are we going to see that we haven't seen yet?
Today or in the whole thing?
In the remainder of the tournament, if you had to pick 2 or 3 champions, what do you think you're going to see?
Soraka, Ezreal, and my weird bet, the Heimerdinger.
The weird one?
Heimerdinger.
The Heimerdinger, I would love to see that. What about you, Spawn?
I think Zilean and Corki are the 2 really obvious ones that we have not seen yet. It's Worlds, so Corki has to make an appearance, and Deft also plays it quite well, just like the Ezreal. And I think that the Zilean will see Emax Zilean with a Mordekaiser or with something else that's very movement speed based. It's really strong at the moment. Level 9, you get this massive speed up or a massive slow. I know I've carried Yamato through a couple of games, so it definitely is a good feeling.
What about you?
I feel it's so unfair because you guys brought up most of the champions that I expected to come in as well. But
you
I think
can't have the same ones, so you have to go crazier.
I have to go crazy?
Yeah.
Oh, Warwick, Tarek. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure Soraka is going to get played because I think the meta will shift in the support role towards Janna, and I think Soraka is the perfect pick against Janna. But the danger with Soraka is she's very, very weak in lane swaps. She's a support that can't really pressure other lanes. She's going to walk out in there, a gank, throw a banana,
It's an
silence.
ambulance, man. It's not a gank. You just run in and start healing him.
Well, the other thing about having so many unique champions played already is it kind of points to the fact that teams are still trying desperately to figure out where the power picks lie. What exactly is the rock, paper, scissors of the League of Legends champions as of right now. As we narrow it down, is there any, champion in particular that you feel we've seen might fall out of the way or might raise to dominance?
I think the Lissandra for coming back up, especially for her flexibility of being a top laner and a mid laner that can take teleport very well and just always provides a huge threat because you have to get a Quicksilver stash if you need to get out. The Crucible is not going to cut it. It does so much damage for team fight and picks. It's a very versatile pick. And a lot of the teams here have played it in the past in their qualifying tournaments and throughout the year, so I'm expecting to see a lot more of this pick.
Yeah, I'm still with Fiora. We have seen so little of a champion that absolutely wrecked the games that it was in. That has to become a priority at some point.
We'll see if people have picked her up even more. Well, we've seen the teams and some of the champions that they played to get here. Let's check out how the teams were drawn into the bracket. Now, at the top, we have a clash of the 2 Korean squads, or not at the top, but we have a clash of the 2 Korean squads, KT Rolster versus KOO. Of course, we also have Fnatic and Edward Gaming. Flash Wolves versus Origen, 2 teams that surprised everybody in groups, but still made it here, and a tough draw for the OMS's #1 seed, AHQ versus SKT. Again, gentlemen, initial thoughts regarding these different matchups.
Yeah, so the one that I actually am really interested to see, I still think it's going to be very one-sided, is AHQ can dictate the pace of an early game. And they got up 10,000 gold. It was against Easy Hoon's SKT at MSI. And when you look back at that game, that should have been a game that AHQ won. They just couldn't close it out against Nazir, who at the time was a very good stall champion. So I want to see if, once again, they can come in and fight. I'm, once again, not even expecting them to necessarily take a game, but this is a team that can dictate pace, and I think that that can be something to upset the early game of SKT and maybe give someone else hope. Once again, not AHQ, but maybe give the recipe to another team.
All right, and then, of course, we have Fnatic and EDG. When we're talking about MSI and teams that went up against each other at MSI, here's another one. Fnatic, we have to remember that they have the addition of Reckless since then.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this particular matchup because I feel like the person that has improved the most on Fnatic has to be Fabian. I think in this particular matchup against EDG, he struggled against Pawn, and I think right now it could be a very, very interesting dynamic matchup.
All right, well, those games are to come. I want to zero in on today's matchup, Flash Wolves versus Europe's Origen. Both of these teams were surprise contenders in the group stage. For the Flash Wolves, they got off to a questionable start in Week 1, but came out strong in Week 2, going 3-0 to grab the #1 seed in their group.
Yeah, and the thing I like about Flash Wolves is they're the team that have come closest to showing that there is a recipe to beat the teleport strategy in mid lane. And that seems to be get Caster, get Maple on 2 deadly champions, and then just try and completely wreck that lane itself. If you got teleport, it means you're not taking a cleanse, you're not taking a healer or a barrier. As soon as that flash is down, you can run things like Lee Sin, LeBlanc, and just completely take over the tempo of the game by crushing that mid lane.
Analyzing the 2 teams coming into the matchup, the first thing that appears is that both of them have the longest average game time, which you think, okay, that might make a really boring game. They all have a deficit at 15 minutes, so you might think on paper that this is going to be a very slow, low-kill game, but these teams have shown that once it reaches that 15-minute mark, it is no stops from that. They just go all out for kills, left, right, and center, and they have a bit of a hard time closing the game, which would make things a lot bloodier, especially because these teams aren't picking very powerful siege, with the exception of their long-range AD carry. Or, I mean, if we see a Tom Kench with Jinx, then that would even be a very viable strategy because you can just get her out of it.
It also makes you wonder how these two teams are going to approach playing against each other. When you look at another team and you say, well, they also like to go late, or maybe not like to, but their games also tend to go late. Should we make an adjustment that says, you know what, we're going to attack the early game and we're going to completely change our play style to work in contrast to what they do, or just try and do what they do better?
I feel like Origen's goal in this particular match is simply because they have red side 3 games because of the lower seed. Like, blue side has shown a lot of dominance in this tournament, but with the fact that Origen has the red side, I feel like they'll go for the strong lane matchups as they have done previously in the in the regular split, where they just pick the strong matchups, go for the Kalista, go for the Coke, get the last pick on Soaz and try to dominate through that.
Yeah, and I feel that even though they're both like distance teams, I feel like one is a distance boxer, which is the Flash Wolves. They like to just keep hitting you and eventually you will go down, versus like a distance runner in Origin who just want to like transverse you around the map as many times as possible until you make that mistake and they pick apart your base. We saw that they got a Baron against the Korean team, then they were able to backdoor the base with double teleport. This team has won some games in pretty unconventional fashion, whereas Flash Wolves, they just keep throwing LeBlanc into the middle of the team until someone dies.
So the traditional way a lot of best of 5s or best of 3s are run is that the first game you just feel each other out and you just, okay, we're going to run our strategy, what we're comfortable with, and it's a team composition that has a very set pace to it. So we might see somebody go with a very crazy all-in early game or go with a stronger late game. And then the second game, that's the one where the teams make the decision, okay, how effective was this specific style against it, and what did they seem vulnerable against? And that's when you see a really big shift in how the play style and the team composition that the teams are running, and adjust it to the best of 5. So the first 2 games for me are the ones that are going to dictate this entire series.
Well, Spawn's analogy has made me a fan of Origin by virtue of being a distance runner myself. I want to take a look at some of the players, though. Someone on Flash Wolves that we were looking at going into the tournament was Stake, saying that he might be the weak point for the team, but he really has stepped up and been a rock for his team.
Yeah, and look, this isn't a flashy player. This guy's not going to go out there and get you the big pentakills, but he's a very good peeling top laner. He can initiate when he needs to, and he also played the Lulu actually pretty well in the game that they ran it with the LeBlanc. So this is a guy, he's probably not going to excite you on Summoner's Rift, but he certainly is a linchpin that does his job very well. And the one thing I will say about Stake is he groups at the right time. One of our criticism of top laners like Dyrus, like Soaz, is that they get caught a lot. Stake pretty much plays that supportive role, so it's very hard to catch this guy out and force an error.
I feel like Stake, even though he has exceeded my expectations, which were very, very low, I don't think, like, still, Stake, I think he still had some issues. I just remember this game in particular where he was playing against Pain Gaming's Mylon, where he struggled a lot in these counter matchup. He was playing Darius and he was playing against Agnar, which is a counter matchup, as I mentioned. And I feel like Soaz on red side in 3 games is going to get that counter pick. And if Soaz is in a dominant matchup against a player that he knows he can dominate, he shines. But if he plays against a better player he knows is better than him, then he gets kind of destroyed.
Yeah, would definitely look for Stake to pick up the damage, as he's one of the lower damage share top laners for his team. Crumbs looking over at Soaz, the guy, though, on the other side of the screen, who, again, you hear the crowd pipe in there for just a moment because he is a hometown favorite. He holds a different role on his team. He's expected to carry, but struggles with some inconsistencies.
Yeah, you know, the split pushing just isn't there. He gets caught out a lot. If you're trying to be a split pusher guy, you need to always know where the team is. And that might be a fault of the team communication, not letting him know that, hey, there's a lot of people coming your way. You need to back off the wave. And we've seen him numerable times just getting caught out in 1v1s, getting ganked, and just not really fitting the split push pressure that Origen needs. And that might be the reason why their games are really taking that long to close out. Because when you die as a split pusher, you really slow down the pace of the game, and it's horrible when you do that. But, you know, I'm a little worried for him. He has done well, especially in some of the team fighting, but when he tilted in that Cannon game, I don't want to see that for this time around.
Now, the picture of consistency, though, for Origen has to be Niels, the AD carry, the rookie coming in here and performing tremendously on his first international stage.
I don't think he's going to get Kalista, that's for sure. Niels has been the most solid player in the team together with Mithy, in my opinion. And I really like the idea of they have in the draft where they prioritize the Kalista. If the Kalista is out of the way, they pick the Kogue and try to pick a strong matchup for him that he can pressure.
All right, well, with all this information in mind, before we head inside the packed house for Game 1, let's get you guys on record. Who do you think's coming away with our first quarterfinal series? Flash Wolves or Origin? Spawn, it looks like we're starting with you, according to the graphic.
Yeah, all right. So I have been hit up so many times today to please not pick my team. So Origin fans, you can breathe a sigh of relief. I'm going with the Flash Wolves today. I think that if you talk about a super sub, you have to mention NL. This guy didn't play the Game 1 and was able to completely take over. They're even cheering the fact that I went for Flash Wolves. This is ridiculous.
All right, Yamato, you're up.
Well, I have to just go with Origin because I have experience playing against him in the best of 5.
There it is. There it is.
I have experience playing against them in the best of 5, and they are very energetic throughout. They are good at adapting. Their coach understands the draft and how to adapt properly, so I expect them to do exactly the same in this matchup.
Split desk, Crumbs, you're the tiebreaker.
I mean, I'm nervous now to say this with the crowd behind it, but I think just from the blue side advantage, this is going to be a really long series, probably 5 games, but in the end, I'm giving it to the Flash Wolves.
Ooh. Wait for it.
Are you giving
there it is. There it is.
Are you giving it to the Flash Wolves or to the blue side?
Oh. Flash Wolves, man. They're playing on the blue side.
Well, that's what these guys think. It's clear that the crowd might disagree. The stage is set, so we're going to kick it to the caster booth.